Welcome to Faith Meets Fate, where we explore connection and meaning through the stars.
Welcome to Faith Meets Fate. We are so excited to be coming together again today to talk about our stories, our journey, as we have been in a lifetime of learning and growing, and we've gone through together. We've all had this history of being a part of the Mormon, what do we want to call it, guys? Latter-day Saints. There's special ways that we have to call it now. and have moved through that into our own little world. And today we get to talk to Bianca and find out more about her story, her journey. I'm wondering, the first thought that came to my mind was, we so often heard the phrase, doubt your doubts. And I'm wondering when did you start believing your doubts? When did you start listening to them? And what was that journey like for you?
That's such a good question because, I'd gone through my entire life up until I hit my 30s. And then that's when it started happening for me. Like, I was such a devout, churchgoer. My whole life was steeped in it, in the Mormon faith, the culture, all of that. And it essentially shaped who I was up until a certain point. I wasn't really ever one of those ones that always kind of doubted from the beginning, like in my younger days. It was always just this blind faith, like, I was born and raised in the church, that kind of thing. I never really questioned anything up until recent years. So just going back, as far as I'm aware, I'm at least third generation Mormon. And I know my grandfather was Mormon. I've never spoken to my dad or my granddad about my great grandfather, but yeah, so we go back generations. And even in my childhood, like, my dad was a bishop, or more specifically a branch president, for 20 years of my life. So
in New Zealand, it's a little different, right? Like, it's not quite as big.
yeah, it's not quite as big. And so we lived out in a remote area. So my dad being the branch president, and just had that title of, like, bishop's daughter, or carried that mantle of, the family name is like, you gotta live up to that standard of, or that expectation that the rest of the community is going to expect you to live up to, because my dad is all, like, well known in the community, and was always doing, like, being there at funerals and speaking. And so he was very much, like, in the community. And even though the community wasn't Mormon, it was still like, my dad is a, faith, like, just prominent in the community as that person that people go to. Marriage celebrant. He's like marrying people, and, yeah.
So, like, for people that are just, like, maybe kind of just tuning in, like a bishop or a branch president is like the leader of the congregation, but in the Mormon church is more than just the leader of the congregation. It's like a whole community leader, and they're, like, organizing like youth groups, and they're doing, like, a lot of activities. So, like, I mean, when you're talking about your dad being central to the community, it's in a way, like, it's less like a preacher and more like a mayor in a kind of a way, right? Like somebody who's, like,
very
really
much
coordinating stuff, right, and doing things in the community.
Yes. So it was always just like, it was always like, if I'm meeting someone in the community that doesn't know me, say, like, I'm just like a child, like a teenager gone to the shops, then I'm meeting someone and they're like, oh, who are you? And then someone else would be like, oh, that's Matthew's daughter. I'm always, it was like, I'm the child of this person in the community, right? And it's like, oh, you're Matt and Margaret's daughter. Oh, okay. Yeah. You know? So,
So you were the face kind of the faith in the community as well.
Yes. Yeah. Like my whole identity was around that, you know, and I never question it. It was just like, this is what it is, you know, this is what life is. And and I didn't need to.
So, I was just gonna say, how was it for you, like in like school, like in high school?
Yeah, so I also went to I'm gonna just say Mormon because this is just how I describe. So if anyone out there is like, it's Latter-day Saint, I'm like, my bad, but this is just how I'm choosing to describe it. I went to a Mormon, a Mormon high school, so we were all of the same faith as well. I went to a boarding school in a different part of New Zealand, and so yeah, went to boarding school, and in high school we were all just the same. You know, we all go to church on Sunday. We're all kind of in this the same bubble, you know. So then that's another layer of like, not like protection, but bubble, because it's like, if we're all going to school, we're all members, we're all Mormon, no one's going to question anything, you know, everyone's just doing it. And you get the rebels, you know, like you get the rebel teenagers who go off and do their own thing, and it's always like, oh, did you hear so and so was at this party, you know? It's like, oh, did someone got caught drinking, you know? It's like, oh, that's so bad. Oh, you know. You know, but we're all, majority of us kind of, we're all leading this faith-led background lifestyle. So I wasn't really truly out in the real world, even in university. It was still, you went to a Mormon university, Brigham Young University, Hawaii, BYUH.
Oh, you had told me that, and I forgot we have that in common. That's right.
Yes, you went there too. I remember you telling me. And yes, so we have that in common. It's such a small world.
Yeah.
Because BYUH is not like a
we
big
both worked at PCC, right?
Yeah, and I worked at the PCC as a dancer and a tour guide, all the good things. Couldn't do the hula for crap now, but back then when my body was more mobile, like when I was a spring chicken, did a bit of dancing. But you worked at the PCC too, right?
I was a canoe boy.
Yeah. Oh, if we went at the same time, you'd be pushing me around on the canoe for the canoe show.
There you go.
While we do our little dances.
Which village? You worked for one of the villages, right?
Yeah, for the New Zealand Aotearoa village. So, but the way they have it, I don't know if many people know about the PCC, but the way that they structured their dancers.
Polynesian Cultural Center.
Polynesian Cultural Center. That's yes.
It's in Hawaii.
I'm like the first one to complain about acronyms, but the first one to actually say them and expect people know.
It's in Hawaii. It's on Oahu, on the windward side, in a little village called Laie, which is where the Polynesian Cultural Center and BYU Hawaii exist. Is a small village of about 5,000 to 7,000 people. Yeah.
But it brings in visitors that are not all members of the faith, right?
It's a major tourist attraction. It's a major tourist attraction. Like people from all over the world are going to it. Yeah.
Absolutely. But are all of the employees members?
Most, but it's not a prerequisite that you have to be Mormon to work there. It's just they utilize the staffing uni students as staffing there, and the university students just happen to be all majority Mormon as well. So you get majority staff at at the Polynesian Cultural Center, but they also have locals, you know, working there as well, and they may or may not be Mormon, but majority of the students, the uni students there are of the faith, of the Mormon faith.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but like the way they work,
of the sheeple, right? Like, I mean, you went as a group, whether it was through your education or in the work that you were in you just kind of stayed as a whole, homogenized, like you say, in a bubble a little bit.
Yeah, still in a bubble.
I mean, it
somewhat.
is. I mean, it's a small village. It's out on the windward side. It's as you're moving towards the North Shore, so it's a little bit remote.
Mhm.
Yeah, and a lot of there's a lot of students that are at BYU that then they work at the PCC. They work at the Polynesian Cultural Center, and they do that as a way to pay their school off. So it's like you can pay your tuition by working at it's like integrated somehow. At least it was when I was there. I don't know.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've been there too now, but it was still the same when I went there back in the day. So
when were you there?
2004 to 04 to 07.
Okay.
Almost, it was December 07 that I graduated with
Okay.
political science degree.
Yeah.
So but what I was going to say before about the dancing, because it was like, even though I worked in the New Zealand village, because if you haven't been to the Polynesian Cultural Centre, you'll there's different villages. So there's Fiji village, Samoan village, Tongan village, Hawaiian village, and the New Zealand village. So if you could be working in that specific village, but when it comes to the canoe show at, I think it was 1:30 or 2:30 in the afternoons, it was like all the dancers come together and they dance on this lagoon for everyone, like for the tourists to sit and watch. And so if you are dancing on, say, the New Zealand, the Māori canoe, Hawaiian canoe, or the Tahitian canoe, then you could be dancing on any one of those, but you're required as a dancer to know all three. So even though I was in the Māori, the New Zealand village, I would have to train after work, backstage, learning the hula, learning, the Tahitian dancing, because I could be on any three of those canoes at any given day. And then why we're talking about this is because, Ryan, you worked as a canoe, what do you call it? Canoe pusher? Is that what you call it? Sorry.
Yeah. The
Canoe boy, yeah. And I was
they do allow women in there now, but when I was there, there was really only boys, only men.
Yeah.
So they called it boys.
And when I was there, it was still kind of still pretty much like that. But that's nice that they have some women now in there doing that.
I mean, I don't know if it's very common, but I don't think they can. I think they've had to
No.
I've heard. I haven't been there, but I've heard that they do allow women sometimes.
Okay.
But
maybe
that's just a rumor. I can't verify.
Yeah. But it was just really funny because it's like one of the things that when for the canoe boys pushing us, especially if where footing is very dancing, footing is everything, but especially the Tahitian dancing, where it's like all about, the way, just the bottom half, a lot's going on in the bottom half for us women when we're dancing. So when the canoe, if you've got your canoe pusher who's like not really steady with his movements, or like crashes up against the side of the lagoon, and then it was very much like, who's pushing us today, because we really need a steady boat to keep us so we can keep moving our hips.
Did anybody fall in?
Oh yeah, there's I think one of the other canoes, it's like a feature of the show where where I don't know if it was there when you were there, Ryan, but yeah, it just happens to be a feature where it's he just happens to fall off, and everyone's like, oh, but it's scripted. But sorry,
show.
Guys,
Gotcha.
part of the show, guys. But it was on one of the other canoes. I don't know, Tongan or Samoan canoe. They're always great fun. Those villages. And we got off track. We were talking about
so you started asking questions.
But it was very much, I was very much sheltered in a little bubble growing up, and as I was hitting those milestones, childhood, 8 years old, get baptized, teenager, the different things when you come of age, when you're 12, 13, 14, and for boys who were receiving the priesthood and things like that. So very much in going to a Mormon high school, and then coming back home and being, in the community as a Mormon. It was just very much like my identity in my life, and living, breathing it. And then even in university, it was pretty much the same. Like, to date a non-member was like a big no-no. Like, oh no, you don't want to date a non-member. And my rebelliousness at that time was like, oh, I'm dating one. I was like, who cares? But for me, I was
dared.
It felt very daring to like step out and date someone of a different faith,
Yeah.
But then got married in the temple, and then came back to New Zealand and raised a little family. Got a 14-year-old son and a 12-year-old daughter. But where I really, we were going to church every Sunday. Had, did the usual, that back then when church was 3 hours long every Sunday. Now I heard it's dropped down to 2 hours.
Yeah, I've heard that.
That was huge. I think I'd already kind of transitioned into leaving at that point. So
yeah, that was after COVID, right? So it was during that time frame.
Yeah. And so where I started kind of falling off the bandwagon was around 2019. And so that was when that was a huge pivotal point for me. It was like, and actually my decision to leave wasn't actually, I wasn't leaving. I was taking a break, and I was going to find myself again. I was going through a lot. And so in that process, I always thought to myself, even a couple years after, I'm like, I'll go back, I'll return back to church, all will be fine. But in that process of me like taking a break and finding myself, I actually realized I couldn't go back because I knew too much now. And I just felt like to go back would mean I was taking steps backwards. And I'm always like, no, moving forward. It feels like the old me. I feel like I'm leaving something behind that is better left in the past, moving on to something new. And that's where that astrology piece came in. I discovered astrology, tarot, got all into it, and just felt like this is me. This feels right. Like astrology has helped me learn things about myself, and that I just don't think I could go back to going back into the whole Mormon.
What was going on for you? And like you said, you were learning too much, and like kind of skipped over this period of like you came back. You came back, you're married in the temple, and started having kids, and you're in the community. Boom! All of a sudden, astrology. But there was like a lot of there. Like, what were you?
So
learning?
much.
What's going on for you at that period of time?
I think there was I think at that time when you're raising a young family, as a mother, as a wife, as a full-time someone working full-time, juggling a lot of hats, and it was overwhelming for me, all the responsibilities that were weighing on me. And so part of me was like, okay, I need to take a break because I'm doing a lot for everyone, but how does that feel right with me? Like, how do I feel about the things that I'm committing myself to? And so I think I was just losing sight of who I was. And so when I took a break, it was mainly when there was a breakdown of the marriage. And I was like, well, I know that if I'm going through this separation at the moment, things are a little bit rocky with on the marriage front. And I know that if I go to church, it's going to feel like I'm going to be pressured into staying in a relationship that I'm not sure if I want to stay in. And because there's this pressure, and I'm not sure if this is what it was like in other parts of the world, in it being in the Mormon faith as a Latter-day Saint. But there was a huge pressure to feel like I need to make this marriage work, because it's for when you get sealed, it's for time and all eternity. And that's a huge commitment to be carrying. We were married for like 12 years at that point. So now I'm like, well, is this a commitment that I want to continue making? Because there's a lot of stuff going on internally, and just like, is this even something I want to keep committing to, and so relying on the support of the church was like, it's fine, just keep at it, just if you keep being that humble, diligent, devoted wife, things will get better. But it had been years where things weren't getting better. So I was like, are you really supporting me and my needs right now? Or are you supporting the message of the church? Because I feel like they don't align. My needs are not aligning with the church's needs. And I think if someone is going to be in a faith, that you should be in alignment on all levels, and there shouldn't be any doubt about that. So that's when I started kind of questioning, well, are you pushing for me to be in this relationship because it's the message of the church, and like a, like it's just the blanket message, or like it's not feeling like it's tailored to my needs,
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was,
That's really interesting, with again, throwing around the words that we're so comfortable with. I don't know that the average person would even understand sealing, right? Like we say when we get married that we are sealed, and that the
for time
implication,
and all eternity.
yeah, forever and ever and ever.
How do we
Whatever that means, it's forever.
How do we do
And that's
astrology
a big
within time and all eternity? Like, what does that mean? How do we track a Saturn transit in time and all eternity?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, yeah, then you can start bringing in like reincarnation, and maybe there's a whole new life, and I mean that's a big old, cracking into something new there.
Maybe instead of tracking Saturn transit, we'd track Kolob transits.
Yeah. If you could hide a Kolob, go have an experience, come back again.
Yeah.
Where's Kolob transiting in your chart?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that was a lot of pressure. That was a lot of pressure to try to hold the marriage together while trying to hold yourself together. And when it wasn't aligning, then it was crushing your own spirit.
And you know what? There was a moment, because if you're with the Mormon faith as a Latter-day Saint, your leaders, your bishop, your stake president, they're all the presidency, first counselor, second counselor, they're all very involved when it comes to these things. Like we're having to have bishops interviews, we're having to, so they almost kind of act as like a therapist in a way, where they're helping you, supporting you in these big situations, and so it depends on your bishop, because if I'm going to my bishop and I'm opening up to him about marriage stuff, he's not a marriage counselor, like, and so it's like, and so it really depends on who you have, because bishops can change every 5 years, right? So I really appreciated the one that I had at a certain time. There was one thing he said to me in our interviews, in my one-on-ones with him, and he's got children who were in their teenage, early 20s. He had a son on a mission, so he was kind of a little bit in that age range where he's a little bit older, but understands what the pressures of family responsibility, duty, all of that thing. So it really, what he said to me one time, he goes, you know what, I know you, and I know your husband. I know your husband very well. He has callings in the church, in the ward. So, but I also support you in if you think that it's better for you to like be on your own and do the separation thing. Like, he's like, I support you 100%.
Wow.
And I just like, it was such a relief to hear that someone he's taking himself out of the church, out of the Mormon
Handbook.
culture way of thinking, and he's seeing it from human to human, and he's like, you know what, I support you. If this is what you want to do, do it. Like I trust that you know
Mm.
what's best for you more than anyone else, more
Mhm.
than my advice could give you,
Mhm.
and I just really loved that, because you don't get a lot of that these
Yeah.
days. It really feels like they're pushing an agenda, and that's the church, the faith, the
Mhm.
gospel doctrines, and sometimes we don't fit into that box. And I know it's designed because everyone thinks, the Mormon, like everyone in the faith is like, got to be missionaries. We got to like go out there and preach the gospel and like, share with everyone, because everyone should like get baptized,
Mm.
but it's not for everyone, and
Right.
sometimes, it's not. You realize that it's not for you, even though it has brought blessings and it has shaped who you are up until this point. But now you kind of have to just like turn around, say goodbye, and keep moving on. Yeah. So, and with me saying, oh, I know too much now, it's more like I know too much about myself. Like I know who I am and what I'm like this time. Like I'm not like, going back would be like, I feel like I'm more self-aware.
It's your self-knowledge that has developed to be too
Yes.
expansive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And how it doesn't fit with the person I am,
Mm.
the person that I want to be. It just doesn't quite fit. There's stuff that's come out about, the about Mormons, that I don't really get myself involved with, but did kind of like have a little bit of saying as to like left a bad taste in my mouth, just with things like, in the 1970s, men of color couldn't hold the priesthood until then, things like that. And especially given my husband at the time was of color, so that's obviously going to affect me, and I'm going to support my husband. And so it was a very personal thing in our relationship, that I back him and support him. And if he's feeling this way, yeah, I could see how you feel. And I'm obviously taking on these things in the marriage and stuff, and help me be more like open, broad-minded, to see like how other people in the church can be affected by certain decisions made higher up the ladder.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was a lot of that going on, where I'm like, oh, I'm just little old me in New Zealand, and it's like, but then I married someone outside of my culture, from Zimbabwe, by the way. So, you could imagine if he is slighted, or if he is discriminated against in any kind of way, it's going to impact me. And I love him,
Yeah.
and I care
Yeah.
about him. And so there's like, oh yeah, wow, can't believe the church did that, like kind of thing. So no
Right.
hard feelings, but yes, there were things where I was like, if I continue going to church, then I'm like, I can't be a silent bystander for these things. I have to be like, I don't
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
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 So
Well,
yeah.
yeah. So great to hear your story. I mean, and it's just so good for me to like reconnect with, how much shared background we had with the
Mm,
BYU, Hawaii, and PCC. It's
yeah,
incredible.
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing to hear. I know that we've talked offline, a little bit, and still it's really exciting to connect and to put the pieces together. And it does feel like there's a lot more. I have more
I think
questions for
so.
you.
I've got a lot more questions too.
So we're
Yeah.
gonna hear more. Do you have more you wanted to add right now before we wrap up?
No, I think that's I guess the meat and bones of it all, of the journey. Yeah, happy to go into like the smaller details and the more like behind the scenes like things, but I'm pretty much like I think I've shared a pretty good overview of what my journey has been like so far. I'm just more excited to hear what you guys have to share, and see like the common themes, or like similarities, when you guys share your guys' stories. So I'm
Yeah.
really excited to hear about those. So yeah.
I think it's gonna be really interesting to see both the things that are common and the things that are so different.
Right.
That our
Right.
journeys are so
Mm.
unique, and that's for me, that's been such a big part of the transition out, is recognizing the things
Yeah.
about myself, that stand out and that I get to explore that and discover and remember,
Yeah.
things that kind of were tucked away as we were as you described, a little bit of a conveyor belt. You know, we just all
Totally.
robotically kind of cookie cutter, like I said in the intro, you know, that it's exciting to discover ourselves. And so that's something that we have to look forward to as we continue talking, as we explore the astrology, as we share our stories and other stories. So we're super excited to keep going. Part 2, part 3, we don't know what's coming, but each of our stories we'll share. And so thank you for joining us. Please subscribe, share this with your friends. Anybody who wants to explore these topics with us, please come along. So
yeah,
Faith Meets Fate. Here we
join
go.
us back here on Faith Meets Fate. Exactly. Yeah, I'll just echo that too before we sign off. It's been good to hear your story, Bianca. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.